What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. So we have some trailer reviews, teaser trailer reviews to do. I think in the past day or so we've actually had, I think, 4 or 5 drop, not just for movies, but we got a couple TV series we're going to be taking a look at, this one in particular. And I think we're starting to see I don't know if it's a resurgence or a surgence of TV series around real life serial killers. I know Peacock had one recently done for Happy Face, and now we have this one here, Peacock's Devil in Disguise. John Wayne Gacy gets creepy teaser and images ahead of October premiere. Now, if you haven't seen it already, and I think I've mentioned it before, because we are going to be doing a series on serial killers. Now, I think serial killer content does fall within the broad scope of horror. I think it could be considered a subgenre. I know it's more true crime, but I think we're going to cover it anyways, just because I find it very interesting. I'm not trying to glamorize serial killers in any way, shape, or form. What I find interesting about things like this, especially John Wayne Gacy, to name one of them, is the fact that what they were able to do and do it for so long or over several victims and never get caught. And it just astounds me how they got away with it for so long, when I think there were probably clear signs that something was amiss, and it just took one slight mistake for them to get caught. And if they didn't have that slight mistake, would they have ever been caught? And I know one of the more infamous, I guess we'll call it modern day serial killers, is like Zodiac, for example, who has never been truly identified or truly caught. Of course, there's been several. I mean, we know the Zodiac film that was done a while back, 2007, I think. And in that film, it does talk about who was believed to have been the serial killer who had been considered to be Zodiac. That's been like the prime suspect, and I think that case still is open in some counties within California, and it's never been solved. And I truly think, obviously, whoever was the Zodiac killer has been dead and has been dead for quite some time, and I don't think that case will ever fully get solved, or they'll be able to say with any definitive that it is this person, right? So back to this one. While we're on the topic of John Wayne Gacy, side note, I've mentioned it before, if you haven't checked it, if you have Netflix, there is a documentary series. They've done it for Ted Bundy as well, but it's called Conversations with a Killer, the John Wayne Gacy tapes. It's only 3 episodes. They're roughly an hour long, but they show you the real. It's not reenactment. It's real life footage of them going. When they finally find out, what he has done. They show actual footage of the police officers in the house, of the grave site, so to speak, underneath his house where he was putting the bodies. Various live, not live today, but like what was live then, like newscast reports, things of that nature. And that's what I find interesting, as they're showing us what was really broadcasted, or what was real life interviews with the people involved, not reenactments and things of that nature. So I highly recommend, if you are into true crime, things of that nature, go to Netflix, take the 3 hours. Again, it's just 3 episodes. Trust me, once you start watching the first episode, you're gonna want to watch the next 2 episodes. You're gonna want to see how it all plays out. So let's jump into this, as we always do. Let's jump into the article details for this. Then we're going to take a look at the teaser trailer and see what this new series is going to be about, coming in October. So Peacock has ordered up their own limited scripted series based on the John Wayne Gacy murders. Devil in Disguise, John Wayne Gacy, and an eerie new teaser brings an unsettling first look. Devil in Disguise premieres on Peacock on October 16th, 2025. So we do have a ways to go before this even drops. The official synopsis: from 1972 to 1978, 33 young men were kidnapped, murdered, and buried in a crawl space beneath their killer's house. And they do so. I'm going to pause throughout this to reference back to the Netflix documentary, because they do show that crawl space. They show the little closet where this or the entry of this crawl space was, and it was not that big of a crawl space, like the entry point to get underneath the house. It was very small. So you'd imagine he would have had to have dismembered the bodies probably before even getting them through that crawl space, or he would have really crammed them through this small little hole to get them underneath. And then once he was down there, then obviously he crawls down there, and they show the various spots where he dug and buried the bodies. And they obviously didn't fully decompose because just how wet the ground was up underneath. And you can see, and they actually map out, they actually show you a map as they were finding all the various bodies, how he was pretty much running out of space underneath his house. They were pretty much almost on top of each other at that point. So had he have not have been caught, it really makes you wonder where would he have then started burying bodies in other places. Let's continue. Let's see here. And no one was the wiser, not for all those years. Why? He was charming and funny, had a good all-American job, was a community leader. He even volunteered to entertain sick kids. So I believe he dressed up as like a party clown, if I remember correctly. And when it talks about as far as the all-American job and community, I think he was he was like one of the heads of the Democratic Party. I don't want to say heads of like, Congress. I'm talking about like some like the societal groups or communities that he led a lot of events. So he tended to know a lot of I don't want to say big name people, but a lot of named people then, and even none of them knew what was going on. So let's continue. While dressed, as dressed as a clown. So he was a party clown. I thought that's what he was. So Devil in Disguise, John Wayne Gacy peels back the twisted layers of Gacy's life while weaving a heart-treading stories of his victims, exploring the grief, guilt, and trauma of their families and friends, and exposing the systematic failures, missed opportunities, and societal prejudice that fueled his reign of terror. John Wayne Gacy and his Pogo the Clown alter ego made America afraid of clowns long before Stephen King introduced us to Pennywise, claiming 33 lives before being arrested in 1978. As Wikipedia notes, John Wayne Gacy was sentenced to death on March 13, 1980. He was executed by lethal injection at Stateville Correctional Center on May 10th, 1994. The series hails from showrunner, executive producer, writer Patrick McManus, if I'm pronouncing that correctly, and boasts an impressive cast. So we have the casting here. We're not reading off names. The new teaser below doesn't give much away, but it does establish a suitable, eerie atmosphere perfect for the Halloween season. Look for the 8-episode limited series to arrive this October. So I'm wondering if they're going to give us all 8 episodes. This doesn't say all episodes on the same day, or if they're going to maybe drop 1 or 2 episodes the first day, and then we're going to get a spread of every week. I imagine for something like this, and I think they said October 16th, this will probably, I wouldn't be surprised if this is a full 8-episode drop on the same day, and they just say have at it. But again, I'm going to say it again. Go watch the documentary on Netflix first before you watch this. I mean, it shouldn't be any spoilers here. If you're into true crime, if you're into this type of thing, you're gonna know pretty well what happens. So again, it shouldn't be any spoilers there. So all right, let's get back. So we have some images here. So I'm assuming this is Devil in Disguise, John Wayne Gacy. Yeah. So this is Michael Chernis as John Wayne Gacy. Let's keep going. So we have probably the one detective here. Or at least we know he looks like a detective here. Let's see. Keep going. Some more detectives. Looks like John Wayne Gacy's being questioned here. Some more pictures. Let's see here. Megan Murphy as Lynn Meadows. So not a young Gacy. So it looks like somebody others. Let's see here. Possibly families of the victims. And then so they're so this is the poster they're using. They're showing the crawl space right in the middle of the hallway. That is not okay. So that's not true. If you again watch the documentary, the crawl space was not in the middle of the hallway like this. So I'm now wondering what creative differences they're going to take in this TV series that's not going to line up to factual information, because that is not where the crawl space was. All right, so let's get back to the top of the article like we always do. All right, so now let's pull up this teaser trailer for Devil in Disguise, John Wayne Gacy, coming to us in October via the streaming platform Peacock. All right, so let's take a look at this teaser.
John Gacy.
Yeah, they don't give away anything in that teaser, really. I mean, it's very eerie. I do like how they almost I don't want to say trick you to think while the sink is running and you see the red droplets, you think it's blood, but then the blue drops, so we can then deduce that it's clown makeup that it then portrays. We hear a couple times the digging underneath the house in the crawl space. Again, as it showed in the poster, we see the crawl space in the middle of the hallway. That's not in real life where the crawl space was. And it's interesting that the house that they're using for this looks pretty close to the house that he lived in. That house is no longer. They demolished that house, I think, soon after he was convicted or arrested. They completely destroyed that house very soon after. So it's not like that house has been around and sitting, multiple families living in it afterwards. They completely destroyed it because of what took place there. I'm highly interested in this. Again, I like true crime stuff. Again, my concern's going to be is especially after seeing the documentary, as I've mentioned before, not trying to sound like a broken record, I am going to be interested to see is how much of this does not align to the true story. Because again, if you can't get the crawl space correct on the location of the crawl space, how much more of this is not going to be truly accurate as to what happened. So again, I would recommend go watch the documentary if you want to know truly factual and see like real life, the house, the videos that the police took, that news reporters were taking there at location. You want to see all that stuff for yourself and then watch this. And then again, that way you can have a better idea for what's true and what's not true. But either way, I'm looking forward to this because again, I do enjoy true crime. So anyways, that's going to do it for this quick teaser trailer review for Peacock's Devil in Disguise, John Wayne Gacy, coming, I think it was October 16th. So drop a comment in the comment section. Let us know what you think. And if you haven't done so already, please like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Otherwise, we'll see you at the next one. Later.